Hi and welcome to update number 4, Stephen's story of prostate cancer. It's a Saturday night. It's about 2 weeks later than I said I was going to do this update, but I'll tell you why in a minute. We're 8 weeks and a few days after my surgery. In the last update I did, I talked to you about continence and pain, and I talked to you about erections and stuff like that. And so we're going to do a bit of that, but I'm going to start with something which is actually the most important piece of news of all. As a little sort of recap, I had a robotic radical prostatectomy. I had near enough 100% nerve sparing, even though the tumour had broken out of the prostate, and it turns out it included the seminal vesicles and 2 of 16 lymph nodes which were removed. So you know, it was quite serious. I had what they call frozen section biopsies, an interoperative biopsy during the surgery, which allowed the surgeon to look for the clear surgical margins while he was doing the surgery. When I sat down with the surgeon, he told me it was 100% successful in that respect, but there's always this concern about the lymph nodes which were included in the tumour. There was only one way really to find out whether or not any tumour cells had broken out and found their way into the lymphatic system, and that's waiting until at least week 6 or 7 and then doing a PSA test. And as it was at about week 7.5, I went and gave blood, and I picked up the results this morning, and the results are right here in front of me, and this number here is the really important one. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. I'll just hold it up there for the moment. I'll read it out to you. It says result 0.03 nanograms per milliliter in a range of 0 to 3.8. The lowest reading this test can make is 0.03. That means that my PSA is at 0.03 or below, and that is excellent news. That means that almost certainly there is no measurable PSA in my bloodstream, which means my body is almost certainly not having to battle with any prostate cancer cells. It's a little early to tell. We'll have to do another test in 3 months, another test in 3 months, and so on, but prognosis is extremely good. At this stage, surgery has been the right thing to do. Surgery has removed the tumour, surgery has removed all the risk, and to all intents and purposes, it looks like I'm cancer-free. It's just absolutely stunning, fantastic news. It couldn't have been better. And I take this opportunity to thank everyone who was involved. My wife, first of all, who did an enormous amount of research and support for me, and the team at Ipswich Hospital all the way through the diagnosis and treatment and follow-up, and the Macmillan nurse, and everyone who was involved at Guy's Specialist Cancer Care Centre in London at London Bridge Hospital, all the ward staff who looked after me, and Professor Christopher Eden, who did the surgery. I'm off to see him on the 2nd of April, where we'll talk about this, and I'll probably do an update on here after that, just so if there's anything that comes out of that, I can tell you about it. But yeah, the big story here is it looks like I'm cancer free, and it's almost like I don't need to do any more. But there's a few things I said I would do, so let's go through it. First thing is, there were some questions asked in the notes underneath this video for the last one about continence products, male continence products, and so I thought I would just so you know what we've been using. There's these things, which certainly for about the first month I was using these overnight, although the truth is I probably didn't need them because I have pretty much always been continent overnight. And then during the day, certainly in the first couple of weeks after the catheter came out, I was having to wear that during the day. But then, since then, I've been using these, and these are just a pad you put inside your pants, reasonably tight fitting, close fitting pants to hold it in place and so you don't leak down the side of it. But stress incontinence is an issue. 2 months in, I can't see it being an issue for much longer, to be fair. I'm having good days. Well, let's say up until a couple of weeks ago, they were all bad days, and every day we leaked a bit. But certainly over the last week, I've had good days and bad days, and a good day is where I've barely had any noticeable leaking at all. And so, yeah, this is like milestones towards full continence, and I think by week 12 we'll probably be there. Stress incontinence is the thing you do when you sneeze and you wet yourself, or what was happening was every time I went from a seated position to standing, you use stomach muscles, squeezes on your bladder, and you just can't hold it back. But those kinds of problems are gone now, and so I'm very pleased. I've got some problems with the muscles underneath that hold everything up. It's like the lower diaphragm. I've had an enormous amount of pain. Pain management has been the real issue, because when you're taking the blood pills, which I'll talk about in a minute, you can't take anti-inflammatories with them, and a lot of the painkillers which are effective in this context are anti-inflammatories. So I've been on cocodamol and stuff like that, on some pretty high doses as well, which I'm not happy with, but I'm pleased that I'm not in pain. I'll come back to that in a minute because it's interesting. So, blood supply, one of the things that your urologists and people like that will talk to you about, and if you watch any of the videos online, particularly the Australian Prostate Society videos, they'll talk to you about maintaining the blood flow to your penis, call it penile rehabilitation. Maintaining the blood flow while you're waiting for your body to recover from the trauma of the surgery. And so all the blood supply is damaged and bruised and battered, as are the nerves, and to ensure that when they've all recovered from the surgery, you've actually got something that was worth repairing, you need some tablets, and the ones they give you are these little blue pills here. This is Viagra. Viagra is a trade name. The proper name is sildenafil. This stuff here. I've got a couple of different ones here, 100 milligram and 50 milligram. There are 3 drugs in this group of drugs which were originally designed as heart medication. They dilate the arteries so that your blood can get around and circulate more easily. They all have side effects, and the first time I took these, I had all the side effects. Now, I must admit, even at 50 odd, I had never had any reason to even consider taking one of these before this surgery. And in fact, I'd never have thought of taking them even after the surgery if I wasn't told to take them. But you hear all kinds of stuff about them, and people say, "Oh, you got to, this is the stuff. This is what sorts out erections and things like that." And maybe it does, but I tell you what, if you get all of the side effect symptoms, which let's see, it starts with it dilates all the blood vessels, so you get colour changes in your vision because it dilates your pupils. You get headaches. You get like muscle aches, like flu. You get congested. It makes you feel nauseous, particularly as it comes out of your system. It makes you feel nauseous, and there's a couple of other things it does to you as well. Quite honestly, it's like the worst hangover you've ever had in your life, and you don't even get to have a drink with it. And in fact, the reason that it does that is because they massively lower your blood pressure, apparently, and you're not allowed to take things with these that lower your blood pressure as well, because it might lower your blood pressure catastrophically and it will kill you. So, how anybody can feel like sex even if you could get an erection after taking these things, I have no idea. It's just beyond me. This is apparently the standard dose, 50 milligram. They started me on 100 milligram. It nearly killed me. Right, so what do you do when that doesn't work, but you've still got to deal with this blood flow issue? Well, the next thing they do is put you on this stuff called tadalafil. I think this is commonly known as Ciallis. This is designed to do the same job, but it stays in your system for much longer. The Viagra stuff only stays in your system for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours, although it can be effective 12 hours later. I think, kind of a shadow effect, but primarily it's only in your system for a few hours. This is in the system for like 36 hours, so if you take it on a Friday evening, it will probably still be effective on Sunday. On me, this did absolutely nothing. It just didn't work at all. So that was a complete waste of time. I didn't get any side effects or any of the good effects with it. So that doesn't work at all. So the next one they put you on is this one called, Vardenafil, which is known as Lavitra, I believe. And this behaves very much like the first one, like Viagra, but the symptoms, the side effects, although they're probably all there, are not so bad, and particularly the nausea. This one doesn't make me feel sick afterwards. So at the moment, this is the one I'm taking twice a week, 20 milligram dose. It lasts a bit longer than the Viagra, but we're only talking like 8 hours or something like that. What happens when you take it? Well, the first thing that happens is you get a warm, after it's dissolved in your stomach, you get a warm flush through your body as all your arteries and veins and everything dilates, and blood finds its way to places it doesn't normally get to. You go and look at yourself in the mirror, you'll be flushed red in your face. You might feel a small headache. I've not had much of a headache with it. I do get congested. It's a bit like you've got a bit of a cold. Again, it's all to do with the dilation of the blood vessels. What's it's going to do down there? Well, it encourages blood flow. It means that if you get any stimulation at all, because the blood supply is all dilated, it's easier for it to grow and become useful. I'll be honest, what else can you do when you're in this situation? So far, I've not had a full erection 8 weeks in, but they're getting there. So I think this is the one we're going to be sticking with, but it's going to be different for everybody. And as I understand it, all your GPs will agree you can't possibly know which one of these tablets is going to work for you. And so the only thing you can do is start with one and then work your way through and see which one you end up on. So I think that's more or less it for updates today. We've talked about the PSA, we've talked about continence, and we've talked about tablets and erections. Positive mental attitude. I've dug my bike out, I'm starting to tidy it up, ready to get riding on it. I can't wait to get back on my bike. At the moment I'm in too much pain, I must admit. Oh, there's a point. One of the things I discovered, and if you find that you're getting a lot of pain with these tablets, you can't take anti-inflammatories with them, so your choices of painkillers are quite restricted. I'm taking cocodamol, 2 tablets about 3 or 4 times a day. What I have found is that its effectiveness diminishes over a couple of days. But when you take one of these with the cocodamol, it really works, like really knocks the pain on the head. And I'm guessing that's because this dilates all the arteries and makes sure that the painkiller can get to everywhere it needs to go. So although this gives you a headache and makes you feel like crap, it takes all the pain away. And on balance, I prefer to feel like crap than be in pain. Sounds awful, doesn't it? But the good news is I'm getting better. I was on the radio the other day talking on BBC Radio Suffolk, if you're in the UK, or probably anywhere in the world if you work out how to modify the technology. BBC iPlayer, last Monday, I don't know what the date was last Monday. 18th of March, I believe. Last Monday, the 18th of March. Can that be right? Is it the 20th? Yeah. I've no idea what the date is. Hang on. The date's the 23rd. Yeah, it probably was. Last Monday, 18th of March, midday on BBC Radio Suffolk, I was on air talking about prostate cancer, talking about awareness, getting the message out there, and also talking about fundraising. I'll remind you, if you're watching this, we are riding the first stage of the Tour de France in Belgium at the end of June this coming year, which is only like 3 months away, 120 miles. We're riding it to raise money for Prostate Cancer UK, and also, perhaps more importantly, to raise awareness of the disease among men who might be interested and might then go and learn a bit more. And if they've got symptoms, go and see their GP. So that's it. Basically a good news day. If you're wondering where Jack the dog is, he's down here in his bed. He's decided it's too late to get up, but he's cool as well. All right, I'll see you for the next update.